Right now at 6, a new era in Rip City as new owners take control and signal a big shift ahead.
And I think as a group, we should be pretty powerful.
Plus, why some diehard Blazers fans are pushing back against the deal to revamp Moda.
We're going to make all these renovations, but all the money flows to the private organization, and that does not make sense.
Then, urgency grows as measles cases climb and more exposure sites come to light. And later,
a little less of this and a little more of this in terms of digging, I think would go a long way.
The runaround that left a Portland man waiting 4 years for a simple streetlight fix.
As a new owner, we're 1-0, so let's keep it that way.
A little bit of humor today, and for the first time, just hours before tip-off, we're hearing directly from the Blazers' new ownership group just days after the NBA officially signed off on the deal.
the running theme from Texas billionaire Tom Dundon, doing what is best for the team and getting it done fast. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. Also a big priority here, renovating the Moda Center, of course, though the current plan is getting some pushback. We have live team coverage this evening with Evan Watson taking a look at that.
But first to Orlando Sanchez live inside Moda. Orlando, if one thing is abundantly clear this evening, it's that Dundon wants and expects to win.
David, you mentioned it off the top, a new era in Rip City, a new chapter for the Portland Trail Blazers, and the team's first home game under a new ownership group led by Tom Dundon. Lots of anticipation, lots of excitement, the emotions flowing today as we heard from Tom Dundon and his ownership group for the first time in front of a packed house inside Moda Center for today's press conference. We got some insight into Dundon's style and demeanor. The billionaire from Texas opened by thanking the Allen family, used the word win over and over, and brushed off the idea of moving the team. He didn't dive too deep into funding for Moda Center renovations. He said he's more aggressive than most, willing to make those tough decisions if need be, and his current concern is the speed and intensity to get going. I asked Dundon about his ownership style and if we'll see him more at games.
I don't go to many games, but what I like to do is work on the stuff, on the fan experience, the building, the roster, all the stuff that's you can do whether you're here or not. But in the beginning, I'll probably be here more because there's so much to learn. And then over time, probably less and come for the big games. Like, especially if we're winning more, it's more fun to come.
Yeah, I think winning cures all. Now, this is an ownership group, and there were multiple people on the podium today to talk to the media, including Shill Tile, who's an alternate governor within the ownership group and is from Portland in the sense that he lives here and has for the past couple of years. His wife is the director of the Oregon Health Authority. He also dubbed the ownership group Rip City Rising.
We called our ownership group Rip City Rising for a very specific reason. We could have called it other things. Could have called it Rip City Stabilizing. We could have called it Rip City Reminiscing. We called it Rip City Rising, and that was a unanimous decision all of us made. And it was because we believe Portland was a world-class city, and it can again be a world-class city, and then potentially ascend beyond that. We think the Blazers can and should play a small role in that.
I do think that that is music to the ears of Trailblazers fans from a long-term perspective, and the fact that he is thinking about the Trailblazers being here for the future. Now, you mentioned off the top, the Blazers now 1-0 under this ownership group. Let's see if they can go to 2-0 and win their very first home game tonight here at Moda Center against the Pelicans. Tip-off set for 7 o'clock. David, Christine?
That is the hope, hoping for a win. Thank you, Orlando. Okay, let's talk a little bit more now about plans to renovate the Moda Center.
Evan Watson's here with us. Evan, Oregon's approved more than $350 million. The state, we're waiting for the city and the county to chip in here, but it sounds like some Blazers fans think only using public money is kind of the wrong way to go.
Right, and these fans are far from protesters or critics. They absolutely love the Blazers, but they've spent the past few months digging into the finances of this arena deal, and they have deep concerns. All around Jonathan Pulver's house, you'll find basketball hoops.
My son Eli is 6. He has become absolutely obsessed with basketball.
It runs in the family.
I have been a borderline pathological Blazers fan since I was 5 years old.
And across the country in New York, Edon Krolowitz is just as passionate.
I watch every game. I stay up even when the 8 p.m. Pacific time start times. I'm up till 1 in the morning watching the games.
He's moving his family back to Portland in the summer. The two men are part of a group of Blazers fans pushing for a better Moda Center renovation deal, one where taxpayers aren't footing the entire bill with few returns to show for it.
No one sent us. No one's getting paid.
So far, the public gets none of the money and has to put up all the money. So the value would be bad. I think it's as bad as it could possibly be right now.
Just about everyone agrees the Moda Center needs an upgrade. State lawmakers committed $365 million to a renovation project as long as Portland and Multnomah County come through with funding deals of their own. Public records show city officials have been working with Blazers leaders behind the scenes, helping advance the team's request for a 100% publicly funded remodel.
We're going to make all these renovations, but all the money flows to the private organization, and that does not make sense.
Basically, the state and the city have been negotiating is a strong word. They've been partnering or maybe colluding with the Blazers to do the Blazers' bidding.
The city of Portland says the mayor's office and executive leadership are leading the negotiations, declining KGW's request to interview a negotiator. Krolowitz, for his part, has data to back up his argument. He made a website he calls Rip City, Not Rip Off, pointing to widespread research that shows stadium subsidies benefit wealthy sports team owners at the expense of taxpayers. He analyzed other recent NBA arena deals and listed what Portland should demand in negotiations: significant private investment from the new ownership group, a share of the Moda Center naming rights, payments in lieu of property taxes, and some level of rent or revenue sharing.
It's pretty simple, right? It's like, do we want to spend $1 billion on an arena where we get none of the money back? Or do we want to spend that money on other things that Oregon needs, like better transit issues that are happening in Portland parks? We need to fix our education system.
Throughout talks, the Blazers have made light threats about relocation, saying public investment is necessary or the new owners could move the team. Many state leaders bought that argument, saying they need to do whatever it takes to keep the Blazers in Portland.
We've got a very good shot to both keep the Trailblazers here.
How would you assess that possibility or that fear of relocation?
It is a bluff. They don't have anywhere to go.
In March, the NBA announced it's looking to add expansion teams in Seattle and Las Vegas, the two markets that pose the biggest threat. Plus, Pulver says relocation doesn't make any financial sense.
The penalties and opportunity costs that they would pay if they left here would be between $1.8 and $6 billion, which is substantially more than it would take them to negotiate with us.
The ball is now in Portland City Council's court, with votes on Moda Center renovation funding and a new long-term lease agreement expected later this year.
You want to show your son you can love the Blazers and love basketball, but also want a good deal for the city.
Absolutely. I don't think those things are in tension at all.
And certainly a perspective there worth highlighting. Evan, I'm curious, when it comes to the negotiations, who's leading the charge when it comes to Dundon and the Blazers?
Yeah, it's really fascinating. The negotiator who worked on behalf of the city of Raleigh against Tom Dundon, his Carolina Hurricanes a few years back, is now working for Tom Dundon.
Oh, that's
and the
interesting.
Blazers in this case. So it really highlights how quickly things can change and also the big amounts of money involved in something like this.
Absolutely. Really appreciate you digging into it and your reporting on this. Thank you, Evan. Well, stay with us as we continue to track what happens with the ownership group and, of course, the Moda Center funding deal. You can find the very latest anytime at KGW.com or on our TV streaming app, KGW+.
In your headlines tonight, Oregon State Police are asking for help locating a missing Independence woman last seen on Saturday night. Police say 28-year-old Maria Kilmore went missing along Highway 22 near Staten when her car ran out of gas on her way to Salem. Kilmer contacted her stepmother and sister who were on the way, but before they got there, the passenger in her vehicle says the 28-year-old got into an SUV that stopped to help and then drove off. Kilmer left behind her phone and her purse, which her mother calls unusual and troubling.
There's no way she'd let us sit here and worry like this. She would call me. She would check in. It's like I'm living a nightmare.
Kilmer is 5'8" and often wears black clothing. If you see her or know anything, immediately contact Oregon State Police.
Authorities are still searching for an inmate they say escaped from the Western State Hospital in Washington earlier this week. Clark County officials say 35-year-old Joshua Rice broke out of the hospital Tuesday night. He's been charged with robbery, assault, and theft of a motor vehicle. Officials say he has ties to North Bend, Oregon. Investigators say Rice also has a criminal history in Multnomah County and should be considered armed and dangerous.
And new tonight, we have learned of a third measles exposure in the Portland metro. The latest location is on the Safeway on Southeast Hawthorne near 27th. The person with measles was there from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. last Thursday, 2 p.m. to midnight on Friday, 2:20 to 6 on Saturday, and 2 to midnight on Sunday. Reading between the lines, it sounds like somebody who works at the store. Health officials say 2 local restaurants also had new exposures, as include the Lark Cafe in West Lynn last Friday afternoon and Fur.com, that's the name of the restaurant, in Gresham last Wednesday, the 25th, between 4 and 6:30 p.m. Talk to your doctor, especially if you or someone in your household has not been vaccinated, and look out for fever or rash.